How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, to recap the opening game of a three-game set between the Yankees and the Guardians. The Yankees getting off to a good start, winning 3-2. We had the World Series rematch over the weekend. Now we have the American League Championship Series rematch as well. And like I said, the Yankees got off to a good start. But it wasn't easy because we had a very good pitching matchup until late in the game when Tanner Bybee surrendered a couple of solo homers. But Tanner Bybee got the start for the Guardians. Carlos Rodón took the ball for the Yankees. And both pitchers did very well. Carlos Rodón in the top of the first inning, he got into a little bit of trouble, but he was able to maneuver out of it. Martinez had a single, Jose Ramirez singled, and then he stole a bag. But then Rodón was able to maneuver out of it, get a couple of strikeouts of David Fry and Carlos Santana. So there were no runs allowed in the first inning. Then in the bottom of the first, Tanner Bybee struck out the side, striking out Aaron Judge, Ben Rice, and Trent Grisham. Well, flip-flop. It was Grisham, then Ben Rice, then Aaron Judge. And the Yankees opened up the scoring in the bottom of the fifth inning. You had DJ LeMahieu going the opposite way for a RBI single that scored Jazz Chisholm, who made his return to the field for the first time in a while, dealing with that oblique injury, but he was back, and he played a huge role in the win last night. He had a very good play over at third base, and it was a good play on both ends. It was a backhand by Chisholm and the long throw to Paul Goldschmidt for the out, and that was I think it was in the top of the third inning. I'll double check on that. Yes, it was in the top of the third inning. That was to get out Martinez for the third out of the inning. But Chisholm singled on a ball that dunked in between the shortstop and the outfielder, Stephen Kwan. You thought Kwan was going to catch that, but he didn't. So Jazz was able to get on base. And then J.C. Escarra, later in the inning, was walked. That allowed Jazz to go to second. And then DJ, like I said, the RBI single to the opposite field, to right field. And that allowed Chisholm to score. It's good to have him back in the lineup with that speed especially. So that opened up the scoring. Rodón was able to pitch through the sixth inning. Yankees challenged a call in the sixth inning where they were trying to determine whether it was fan interference or not, as the fan did reach over as Aaron Judge was trying to make the catch. And the call did get overturned, so that ended up being the third out of the inning. Unfortunately for that fan, he ended up having to be thrown out of the game, out of the stadium. So, yeah, but hey, it was good for the Yankees, just not good for the fan, unfortunately. That was a tough break for him. Yankees did go quietly in the bottom of the sixth. Top of the seventh, the Guardians did tie the game. Jose Ramirez had a base hit, then stole a bag, and then David Fry singled. DJ LeMahieu felt like he should have made that play, but he didn't. It got by him. Jose Ramirez scored. That tied the game. And then Carlos Rodón was able to get through the seventh. They kept him in to face Bo Naylor, the lefty, and that ended up being the right decision because he was able to get Bo Naylor to fly out. And then in the bottom of the seventh, he had a couple of homers. Tanner Bybee has had problems with the long ball this season. I think with the two that he gave up last night, now he's given up 14 homers on the season, I want to say. But Jazz Chisholm, it was a porch job, but he picked up his 8th homer of the season, homer out to right field. It was good to see that, to put the Yankees up 2-1, and then Anthony Volpe followed that up with his 7th homer of the season to make it 3-1 Yankees. And then things got dicey in the 9th inning. We'll go to the 9th inning. So Mark Leiter Jr., he pitched the 8th, did a nice job, didn't give up anything other than a walk. And then Devin Williams came in for the 9th inning. And I said, as long as Luke Weaver doesn't get hurt, we'll be okay. He's not going to pitch the 9th inning. And unfortunately, Luke Weaver suffered a hamstring injury that kept him out of Sunday's game. And then it's now been determined that he's going to go on the IL. And the timeline is 4 to 6 weeks, just about. So we are not going to see Luke Weaver for a little bit. So now that gives Devin Williams an opportunity, once again, to show, hey, I could close games for this team. Now, he did end up getting the save. He picked up the save, but it was not easy. It was not easy. He does not make things easy for himself when he closes out games in the 9th inning. So he did get Manzardo to fly out, So we're like, okay, that's good. But then Carlos Santana doubles. He gets Gabriel Arias to strike out. But then he gives up a hit to Daniel Schneemann. And that scores Carlos Santana to make it 3-2. Then Schneemann ends up stealing a bag. And now you got the tying run in scoring position. He's facing Bo Naylor. And he gets Bo Naylor to fly out to end the game. There was a gasp in the crowd as the ball went in the air. But thankfully, Bellinger was able to get under it, make the play, and the Yankees win the first game against the Guardians. So my takeaways from the game, Carlos Rodón has now lowered his ERA to 2.49 on the season. He went 7 strong innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk. Last 2 starts, combined 1 walk. I think that's been one of the biggest key for Rodón is not giving up walks, not surrendering walks. And once again, a lot of strikeouts in the game. 8 strikeouts. Mark Leiter Jr. did his job. Devin Williams, again, scared us, but he got the job done. But Carlos Rodón has been great. He is now 8-3 on the season. He's pitching like one of the best pitchers in baseball. Could be an all-star this year, right? If he keeps pitching like this, you're going to see him and Max Fried make the all-star team. The Yankees are going to have some all-stars this year. With those 2 guys at the top of the rotation, I don't know what's going to happen now with Luke Weaver now that he's on the IL, but he looked like he was going to be on the all-star team. He could still make it, I think. Aaron Judge, of course, will make it. Paul Goldschmidt, I think, deserves consideration as well. Yankees definitely got a crew that could be heading to the all-star game this season. It's not going to just be, Aaron Judge like it usually is. And at least one other player. It could be a couple of others. But the other takeaway, I would say, Jazz Chisholm, getting him back, paid dividends in all 3 phases. Base running, hitting, and defense. Had the nice play in the 3rd inning, had the blooper for a base hit, the home run, and then also, scoring on the DJ LeMahieu RBI single. Yankees are in good shape. Like I talked about at the end of the Dodgers series, what will frustrate me, what will anger me, is if you lose 2 out of 3 to the team that knocked you off in the World Series, and then you go on a downward spiral. Now, it's only 1 game. But that was a tight game that the Yankees were able to win. And now let's take the series tonight. You got your 3 best starters going in this series. You got Clark Schmidt tonight, and then tomorrow you have Max Fried. So I like where the Yankees are at in this series. I think the Yankees could definitely win this series, and then we'll see what happens when they take on the Red Sox later this week. But nothing really else to take away from this game. Look, the Guardians, they talked about it on the broadcast last night. They're a lineup that has really struggled to put up runs. Their pitching has been solid this year, but they struggle to put up runs. Jose Ramirez is having an unbelievable season himself. Batting .330, 11 homers, 29 RBIs, 939 OPS. He's underappreciated. He is one of the best players in baseball. They were talking about that on the broadcast last night. And he steals bases. He is one of those players that gives the Yankees a hard time. But, they held Stephen Kwan down last night as well. He was 0 for 3. Big Christmas, who hit the ball to tie the ALCS Game 3. Right? Was it Game 3? Yeah, it was Game 3. He didn't do anything last night. There were no homers. He's batting 146 on the season with a 399 OPS. Yeah, that's not good. But, Tanner Bybee had his way with the lineup for most of the game, but, the Yankees were able to scrape off some runs, and in the 7th inning, he surrendered a couple of the home runs to Chisholm and to Volpe. Volpe ended up finishing 1 for 3 on the night. Look, he's batting .241, 760 OPS, 7 homers, 34 RBIs. I'm going to continue to defend him. He's doing all right. But now, you see how this lineup looks when you add Jazz Chisholm to this order. And it just lengthens it out even more. And you want to see Jazz get the batting average up. Now with those 2 hits last night, he went from batting 181 going into the game to now 194. Just keep it going. And, he said after the game, all the right things. He's going to, like we talked about, he's going to play wherever they ask him to. He wants to win. He said this is the best place he's ever played. Now, he's only played in 2 organizations. He's played with the Marlins. He's played with the Yankees. But he loves being a Yankee. And you got to embrace that. You have to embrace that as a fan. This guy wants to be here. This guy wants to win. He says all the right things when it comes to that. That's what's going to win you over. Now you just got to continue. That's what's going to win the fan base over. You just got to continue to produce. And so far, so good with that. Again, it's just 1 game. But to get him back and then you eventually get Giancarlo Stanton back, that's only going to deepen this team even more. It's just going to get tough when you're trying to play everybody because Ben Rice is going to lose at bats. They sent down Yorbit Vivas. What's the corresponding move when Stanton is going to come back? Who is going to be the guy that's going to be sent down or DFA'd? I keep saying Pablo Reyes, but he still finds a way to stay on this team. I think he might be the odd man out once Stanton comes back. I think it's because Yorbit Vivas had more options that they figured, all right, we're going to send him down. And, we don't want to DFA, Pablo Reyes because then you're losing another righty bat. The Yankees have a lot of lefties on the team. So you send down a lefty to bring back a lefty. So I don't know. That's one way of looking at it, I guess. But yeah, who is going to be the corresponding move when Stanton comes back? That's what I want to see. I think it's going to end up being, it should be Pablo Reyes because Oswald Peraza doesn't have any options left. I don't think the Yankees want to lose that glove just yet. But somebody else could get hurt. I hope not. Speaking of being hurt, Jason Dominguez, he's getting better. I think he'll be out again tonight, but he will be back at some point during the week. But thankfully, he's not on the IL. Don't want to see him go on the IL. Want him to continue to get more at-bats and continue to put together what's been a good year for him. You want to see him get better from the right side, but, I think the defense is coming along. The base run, that's the other thing, too. I mean, you have him, Jazz, and Volpe all in the lineup, all guys that can run. I mean, that you like the makeup of this team a lot better than some of the other teams that they've had in years past. Because in years past, they've had all these sluggers, these guys that can't really run the bases well. Now, you have guys that could do more than that. You got the power with Judge, and, Bellinger shows you that. But Bellinger could also do other things, too. And Judge could do other things as well. But where they get their power is from Aaron Judge. But now you got other guys in the lineup like Volpe, Jazz. They can run the bases. They could steal bases. So you like that. You don't want to have all these guys that just slug. Like, when Stan comes back, he's going to be a slugger. So can't wait to get him back, though. But, things are looking up. I know Luke Weaver getting hurt puts a damper on things, and Devin Williams is going to continue to stress us out. But they're in good shape. But, brace for potential blown games in the later innings because it's going to happen. Thankfully, it didn't happen last night. It's going to happen at some point. So just brace for that. But the Yankees have one of the best records in baseball. They got a comfortable lead right now in the AL East, and they just got to keep it going. They're going to get Luke Weaver back. It would have been different had it have been an arm injury, but it's a hamstring. He's going to bounce back from this. He's going to come back, and he'll be in there to help lock down opposing teams' hitters in the later innings. And the Yankees also got Fernando Cruz back, so they got him back. So, you subtracted Luke Weaver, but at least you got Fernando Cruz back. Jake Cousins could be coming back soon. So, we keep saying this, but they will be coming back. But a good way to start off this homestand for the Yankees against the team that they knocked off in the championship series last year. So let's keep it going. Clark Schmidt goes tonight. Let's go Yankees. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to listen to us on Spotify and check us out on TikTok as well. So as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off. Have a good one. Let's go Yankees, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.